when you submit somebody, I think we've all had the experience where we try to choke, that we're choking and then our forearms burn out before we actually get the choke. And a lot of this happens because the grip to begin with is bad. You cannot adjust a grip after you've put it on, meaning like if there's 3 steps to the choke and grip 1 is weak, you can't correct it in step 3. You're better off waiting and pulling back in step 1 and making sure that the grip is right before you move on. It's like building a house. If you have a bad frame, your house will fall apart. Same thing in jiu-jitsu, okay? So, you're a Kung Fu Sifu, yes? My uncle is a Kung Fu Sifu, okay? He's very old school, and a lot of people are like, go train with your uncle, but he doesn't want to take students unless you like really want to fight. And I've seen him teach before, and when he doesn't get what he wants, he goes, no damn good, no damn good. One of the things that he lectures everybody on is 2x4 on the wrists. When you're fighting, you can't have floppy wrists. When you're choking, you can't have floppy wrists. So think of your wrist as a 2x4. There is no longer a joint here. When you go to choke and you open the lapel up, I like to make sure that I dive my thumb deeply and that the fat part of the lapel is either on the palm, this way, or that way, whatever is available. But do not choke with your fingers wrapping around the fat part. Make it deep. Okay? Now, once I make it deep, I'm not going to wrap the back of my wrist under his neck because it's soft and it's flat. So when I make this deep grip, I make sure that I turn and orient the bone of my wrist into his throat. How does that feel? Very bad. Now with the bow and arrow choke, the motion, actually with all the chokes, even if this was a sliding collar choke, the motion is not extend the elbows. This motion is pull the elbow behind the head. Okay, so if we do this as a bow and arrow, and this is a detail that, you know, I apologize. I'm not very, I think I purposely choose to not be conscious of what people have seen or not seen on the internet. And so I come here and I'm like, oh, everybody's seen the bow and arrow choke before, but we can all learn some more details. So look, I get the deep grip. My wrist is oriented so that it's straight. I'm not gonna be bent around his head. I'm thinking about pulling my elbow behind his head, behind his neck. When I step over, I grab his knee, either the pant leg or underneath, depending on what's available. And look, I don't just sit back. Because if I sit back, it's a very passive gesture that he's rolling into the submission. I'm going to sit forward. When I sit forward and put my weight into my left side, I do this so that I can create slack on the right side. I do this so that when I create slack on the right side, I can pull the choke tighter. I windshield my right leg out, and I post like a bicycle kickstand. The weight is all the way forward, and I take the slack out, yeah? When I sit back, there's no slack, so it's a very tight choke. The problem is we learn these chokes, and we have slack all over the place, and then we're burning our forearms out, okay? Let's do it a couple more times before we wrap it, okay? 1, 2, 3.